I call the member for Goldstein.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I concede frustration in beginning this address. As the only member in this House who's actually engaged to their partner of the same sex, and I notice all the members opposite are walking out, respectfully, actually I do. Nobody else has spoken about it. For 7 years I've been engaged, and tragically it's actually mostly been during the entire time of the previous government as well as the current government. I'm sorry, I want to get this issue resolved to the member for Sydney. It's frustrating to watch the moral posturing of many on the issue on the other side who have constantly delayed, stalled, blocked and opposed change before changing their opinion in favour now with zeal. Respectfully, some of us have always had a consistent position, and taking a lecture about the failure to pass a change in the law from the opposition is a bit rich. They had the potential for so many years to deliver this. It was immensely frustrating to watch that they didn't. First, we had Kevin Rudd, who opposed it on religious grounds. Then we had Julia Gillard, who opposed it on feminist grounds. And then we had Kevin Rudd, who was for it and didn't act. Now, I don't think it's a dispute that I have a slight difference of opinion from some people, sometimes on my own side of my side of politics on this issue. But since the coalition has been in government, there have actually been no surprises. In the last term, the government was elected on the basis of opposing change, a position I personally don't agree with, and then took a position to the last election in favour of a plebiscite and a free vote. And we could have had this issue dealt with and resolved by the beginning of this year, but the opposition opposed a change through blocking a plebiscite. It may not have been my first preference, but we have to concede it would have been done, and you would concede that as well, because we would hope to the opposition that you are going to, as you announced today, support a change in the law and advocate for it. Now, my views about the plebiscite are based on a strong belief in institutions and maintaining trust in them, and a number of people I speak to talk about the importance of trust in public life, and I hold very strongly to that. But I think the trust in our institutions is also of tantamount importance. And frankly, I care less about the trust of one government or another, or a politician or another, because we are temporary, whereas the parliament is timeless. We're a parliament founded under the Constitution by the people. The Constitution says it is the role of the federal parliament to make laws related to marriage, and that has been unanimously confirmed in the 2013 High Court decision. But parliamentarians are also within their rights to consult their community to inform their judgments. But I'm also an Edmund Burke fan. I owe the people of Goldstein my judgment in the situation, and everyone knows that if there were a bill before the parliament that I would vote for it. But we don't have one. We are where we are. A number of people have suggested that colleagues, including the member for North Sydney, Leichhardt, Brisbane and myself, just need to cross the floor to stop this process. Well, I'm sorry, that's false. If a bill passed this chamber right now, it would still need to be passed by the Senate. And the ugly truth, despite the moral posturing of our opponents, is that it won't do so, because Labor will not deliver the numbers that are needed. They say they can, but they can't. A series of Labor MPs are using their conscience vote to vote against a bill. So passing a bill through the House is pointless. The task before us is to win. For the past 2 years, opponents stopped arguing against our freedom to marry. They've been arguing process. From their messaging so far, they've been using statements like, and the opposition has raised this, things like freedom of speech, religious freedom and political correctness. Now, my personal view is that those arguments are laughable. The choice is not whether we engage or not. The choice is whether we allow these statements to go unresponded to. The choice is whether we stand up to those who want to keep us down. The choice is only to win. For those in the community who supported the change in the law as I do, I say this. This is a moment in our nation's history. It is the moment to change the country for the type of country we want to be, to make it better. We cannot shirk our responsibility or a fight. Minorities never get to set the terms of the battlegrounds that they fight for their rights. The battlefield is always set by others. They have won not because their terms have been in their favour, but their arguments, history and justice has been on their side. In this debate, we have always had to convince the majority of Australians to change the law, even though they have never lived our shared experience. And we have, despite exceptional odds. Now is not the time to cower. It is not the time to hide. It is the time to stand up. to stand up for yourself, for your loved ones and for the type of nation that we want to be.